Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this video I will be talking about 10 teams that could reach the college football playoff this season. Before we get into today's video, if you're new to my channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button and also turn on that notification bell for all future videos. And chances are if you're watching this video, you really love sports, and also drop a like. Alright, before I get to my 8 dark horse teams, I just want to stress that these teams are sleepers and dark horse contenders for a reason. I'm not saying that these teams are going to be reaching the college football playoff, but I'm saying there's always a chance that crazier things can happen and any of these teams could find themselves in the top 4. During the 2022 season, there's most probably going to be 6 or 7 teams that seem to have the best chance of reaching the college football playoff. If I was to guess, it's probably going to feature teams that we have seen in recent years. So we'll start off this video with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Wake Forest was a top 5 offense in college football last season, and they returned a lot of their top talent, including quarterback Sam Hartman and their leading receiver, are both back for the 2022 season. They have a very favorable schedule this season, and they are coming off an impressive season. Wake Forest won 11 games last year and went 7-1 in conference play. They played in the ACC title game last year, and they played against the Pittsburgh Panthers and lost that game 45-21. There is no reason why to believe that they can't be back this upcoming season. Their offense is one of the best in college football, and their quarterback could be a Heisman contender this year. They are going to be able to put up points on the scoreboard with ease thanks to their easy 2022 schedule. In their schedule, they will have to play Clemson, but they are going to get them at home. If they can win against the Tigers, the rest of their schedule is very favorable. Other than Clemson, they do have a tough matchup on the road against NC State, but they are most likely going to be favored in their other 10 games the rest of the season. Clemson will be a favorite to win the ACC and reach the college football playoff. Wake Forest does have the tools to have a shot this year. The next team on the list is the Michigan State Spartans. The Michigan State Spartans had a pretty good season last year, and their overall record was 11 wins and 2 losses, and they went 7-2 in conference play. They were selected to participate in the Peach Bowl last season on December 30th. That was the school's first New Year's Six Bowl game since 2015. The Spartans won that game against Pittsburgh 31-21 in the Peach Bowl. Yes, the Big Ten favorites in 2022 will be Michigan and Ohio State. But don't count out Michigan State next season, especially since they gave their head coach a 10-year, $95 million contract to remain the head coach of Michigan State. A huge reason to believe in the Spartans is the return of quarterback Peyton Thorne, who threw for 3,232 yards and 27 touchdowns with 10 interceptions. He will also get his leading receiver Jaden Reed back, who averaged 17.4 yards per reception last season and caught 10 touchdown passes. The biggest thing that might mess with Michigan State's playoff chances next season is its tough schedule. Michigan State's home slate includes games against Western Michigan, Akron, Minnesota, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Rutgers, and Indiana. Getting OSU at home is huge, but they have to go on the road to face Michigan and Penn State later in the season. They also have a Week 3 road trip to Washington. We'll see if Michigan State can be a surprise next season in the Big Ten and in college football. The next team on the list is the Miami Hurricanes. The Miami Hurricanes had a decent season last year, and their overall record was 7 wins and 5 losses, and they went 5-3 in conference play. They did make a bowl game last season in the Sun Bowl, but unfortunately they withdrew from that game due to COVID-19 issues. Miami once again has a new head coach for this season, and it would be quite an accomplishment for the Hurricanes to make a playoff run during his first season. One of the biggest reasons Miami could have a big year is because of the return of starting quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. He started this season as a backup to redshirt senior Kane, but was called into action after Kane suffered a season-ending injury in early October. Tyler will be a sophomore in 2022, and he threw for 2,931 yards, 25 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions in 10 games last season. He won the ACC Rookie of the Year award despite not playing a full season as a starter. Their biggest obstacle in the way of playoff hopes is their schedule. They have to travel to Texas A&M to face the Aggies in Week 3, and then they have to go on the road to face Clemson on November 19th. Miami's road to the college football playoff isn't going to be easy this season, but they will have a chance. Now let's move over to the SEC, the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Arkansas Razorbacks had their first winning season since the 2016 season. Their overall record was 9 wins and 4 losses, and they also went 4-4 in conference play. Their head coach has put together one heck of a turnaround. In his first season in 2020, Arkansas finished 3-7. 1 year later, Arkansas went 9-4, capped off with an Outback Bowl victory over Penn State 24-10. With some key players returning and a navigable schedule, Arkansas could have an even bigger season in 2022. Arkansas will get back quarterback KJ Jefferson, who threw for 2,676 yards and 21 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. He led Arkansas in rushing too, with 664 yards and 6 touchdowns. Their 2022 schedule is set up pretty nicely, with most of their bigger games at home. Their home schedule includes notable games against Cincinnati, South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU, and their toughest road games for Arkansas are BYU and Auburn. I know picking anyone other than Alabama to come out of the SEC West is pretty crazy, but the Razorbacks could have a big year, and their path to the college football playoff is within their reach if a lot of things go right. Now, the next team on the list is from the SEC again, the Ole Miss Rebels. The Rebels are coming off one of the best seasons in program history as they tied a high with 10 wins and went 6-2 in conference play. They did make a bowl game last season. They played against Baylor in the Sugar Bowl and lost that game 21-7. The Rebels in the 2022 season could set a new program record with 11 wins or 12 wins. Despite the loss of quarterback Matt to the 2022 NFL Draft, the Rebels still have a lot of skill on offense, and they landed USC quarterback Jackson Dart out of the NCAA transfer portal. We know how dominant the Rebels' offense can be, but their defense is what really stood out from last season. They weren't in the top 10 in every defensive category, but they improved significantly from where they were a few seasons ago. Their offense is going to score points this season, and the defense will be able to limit points as well this year. If their defense continues to get better, they could be a problem in the SEC West this season. Looking at their schedule, they could easily start off the season 6-0, and once they get to the harder part of their schedule that features road games at LSU, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and plus a home game against Alabama. That will give them a number of great chances to add some significant wins to their resume, but their destiny to make the college football playoff is in their hands. Now, the next team on the list is the NC State Wolfpack. NC State had a really great season last year. Their overall record was 9 wins and 3 losses, and they also went 6-2 in conference play. They accepted an invitation to the Holiday Bowl to face UCLA, but unfortunately it was canceled due to COVID-19. NC State, I think, has a great chance to be the best team in the ACC in the 2022 season. Last season, the Wolfpack were one of the 3 teams that beat the Tigers last season. NC State upset Clemson 27-21 in double overtime in Week 4, a win that snapped an 8-year losing streak to the Tigers. They have a lot of returning talent, and they will be led by quarterback Devin Leary, who was a big reason the Wolfpack beat Clemson last year. He threw for 3,433 yards, 35 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions on the season. The Wolfpack won 8 of their final 10 games last season, and those 2 losses came by a combined 4 points. Their offense and defense are one of the most well-rounded teams in college football. For the 2022 season, the Wolfpack have a very favorable schedule, which is great for them, but also not great for them either. Their toughest and biggest game for them will come on the road against Clemson. If they can pick up a road win over the Tigers for a second consecutive season, that could be enough to put the Wolfpack into the playoff conversation. NC State is likely to be favored in every other game they play the rest of the way. They do play Wake Forest at home, and that will be another tough matchup. But other than that, their schedule is very favorable. Their destiny to make the college football playoff is in their hands this season. Now, the next team on this list is from a non-5 power school, the Houston Cougars. Thanks to Cincinnati showing last year that it's actually possible for a non-Power 5 team to reach the college football playoff. The Houston Cougars could very well be the best group of 5 team in the 2022 season. Houston is coming off on a fantastic season last year. Their overall record was 12 wins and 2 losses, and they went undefeated in conference play. They did make a bowl game last season. They played against Auburn, and they won that game 17-13. The Cougars were one of the few teams in college football to be ranked inside the top 20 in offense and defense. Houston has a lot of talent returning for the 2022 season, and there's a great chance that they could be the most dangerous team in the American Conference. If Houston wins out and they finish the season 13-0 and they are crowned American Conference champions, I absolutely think that they can do this, but their weak schedule could very well hold them back. Cincinnati last year had a signature win on the road and beat a really good Notre Dame team, and that was their signature victory. The Houston Cougars will most likely need a lot of help, and they would have to dominate every single one of their games, but never say it can't happen. Now, the next team on this list is an independent, and it's the BYU Cougars. The BYU Cougars have been quietly one of the best teams in college football over the last 2 seasons, as they have gone 21-4. The Cougars last season had an overall record of 10 wins and 3 losses. They did make a bowl game last year, and they played against UAB, and they lost that game 31-28. BYU is likely going to have another double-digit win season this year, as they return a lot of talent on offense and on defense. The BYU Cougars have the advantage of having a really good schedule that can help them climb the rankings, and that ultimately puts them in the playoff discussion. At the same time, it's also a really good schedule that can really hurt them too. They will play a number of top 25 teams this season that include Oregon, Arkansas, Baylor, and Notre Dame, who is a consistent playoff contender. And those teams should be ranked inside the top 25 when BYU faces them. They do play some teams that could be sneaky good, and they could be ranked inside the top 25, including Utah State, Boise State, and Stanford. The Cougars have home games against Arkansas, Baylor, and Utah State, and those 3 teams went a combined 32-9 last season. BYU's road games include Oregon, Liberty, Boise State, and Stanford. If the Cougars can navigate this schedule and go undefeated or come out with 1 loss, they could be a near lock for the college football playoff with those wins. Don't be surprised if BYU makes some playoff noise next season. The next team on this list is from the Big 12, and it's the Texas Longhorns. In the Big 12, we can say that teams like Baylor, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State have realistic shots at reaching the college football playoff, especially because they were all in the conversation last year. The Texas Longhorns started the 2021 season off really strong, but they completely fell apart in the second half of the season. Last season, Texas had an overall record of 5 wins and 7 losses, and they also went 3-6 in conference play. Texas didn't make a bowl game last season. The Longhorns have a lot of new faces this season, but I think that if everything clicks this year, they could have a good chance to be one of the better offenses in college football. Looking at their schedule this year, they do have one of the biggest non-conference games this season, as they host Alabama in Week 2. If the Texas Longhorns somehow pull off an upset and beat Alabama, they will be in the driver's seat to reach the college football playoff. Texas will still have to play Baylor, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State. But if they can win 2 out of those 3 or win all 3 of those games, then they will have a great chance of making the college football playoff, and their destiny to reach the college football playoff will be in their hands this season. We will wrap up this video with the Pac-12, the Utah Utes. The Utah Utes had a great season last year by winning their first Pac-12 championship since joining the conference in 2011. They defeated the 10th-ranked Oregon Ducks 38-10 in the Pac-12 Conference Championship game. In last year's season, they had an overall record of 10 wins and 4 losses, and they went 8-1 in conference play. They are coming off their first Rose Bowl appearance in school history, and in the Rose Bowl, they lost against Ohio State 48-45. I have the Utah Utes as the best team in the Pac-12 this season, and they have a ton of talent returning, including starting quarterback Cameron Rising, who threw for 2,493 yards and 20 touchdowns last season, and leading running back Tavion Thomas will be back as well. That marked the second time that Utah played Oregon last year, and they won both games within a 3-week stretch. Looking at the schedule, Utah opens the season with a road trip, and they will have a prime opportunity to earn a signature victory in Week 1 against Florida. If the Utah Utes beat an SEC team on the road, that would be a signature victory. They could find themselves in the playoff conversation early. They will have plenty of Pac-12 games that would boost their resume, including a home game against USC. Utah will have matchups on the road with Oregon and UCLA, who could both be potential top 15 matchups when they play each other. Their destiny to make the college football playoff this year is in their hands. So these are the teams that I think are dark horse / sleepers in the 2022 season that can reach the college football playoff. Now, most likely, 0 of these teams will find themselves inside the top 4 this season, and that's why we are calling them dark horse / sleepers. So which team is being slept on to reach the college football playoff? Was it a team I mentioned in the video, or was it a team that I didn't include? Whoever it is, let me know in the comments down below. Before you leave, make sure to smash that subscribe button and also turn on that notification bell if you're new to my channel. And if you love sports, this is definitely the channel for you. And please share this video with other sports fans. As always, thank you so much for watching. My name is Nathan, and I'll see you on the next video. Just keep loving sports.